Hi, dear friends, welcome. Today we will discuss about the exception handling in Java. Exception handling is another powerful mechanism to handle the runtime's error in the a Java program. So first we need to understand what is an exception. Generally, an exception is not an error. An exception is a abnormal condition in a program which is raised either manually and automatically in the program. And how the Java handle it, the Java treated any exception as an object, and that exception, the object of the exception will be thrown at the runtime. So what is the advantage of exception? The advantage of exception is to maintain a normal flow of the application. Exception normally disrupt the normal flow of the application. That is why we use the exception. There are various types of exception. Generally, we can set two types of exceptions. One is called the checked exception or the compile time exception, and another is the unchecked exception or the runtime exception, and another is the error. So the checked exceptions that extend the throwable class. Throwable is the uh, uh, top class out of which all the exception classes inherited. uh, so the throwable class accept the runtime exception and error are known as the checked exception. These are checked at the compile time, and while the unchecked exception are the classes that extend the runtime exception, like the array index out of bounds, null pointer, arithmetic exceptions, and error, which is not the errors are the irrecoverable and cannot be handled, like the any network error, out of memory error, virtual machine error. Now we see the class hierarchy for the exceptions. We already know about the object class, which is the one of the um, top hierarchical class in the Java. One is the class is a throwable class, and this class have two child. One is the exception and one is the error. So the all the exceptions that can be handled, an error cannot be handled. That means a error cannot be recovered. If a program raise an exception, that can be handled and program may be the continue, but if there is an error, the program must be terminated. So here we can differentiate the checked exception and unchecked exception. These are the given the some example what are the checked exception and what are the unchecked exception. Mm, no, we will how the Java, what are the syntax and how the Java handle these exceptions. Uh, any exception that may be raised in the future or in the program, we need to enclosed in a Java try block. So this try block is used to enclose the code that may be throw an exception and must be used within the method. This is the syntax is given. uh, Here that we can write the code, they may be raised any exception or it must be enclosed between the try and catch block. uh, Java catch block is used to handle the exception problem without exception handling. So this is the example here given, a program without an exception. Here we can note that this 50 is divided by 0, and with generate and raise an exception, a runtime exception, that is the any arithmetic exception. So here we did not handles the exception, so the output will be like this exception in the thread main, arithmetic exception, and program will be the uh, terminate, and the system dot out dot println, the rest of the code not be will be not printed here. The solution using the exception handling, we can see If we put the 50 by 0 between the try and catch block and handle as a arithmetic exception, then see the output here. It will print just the rest of the code. So this is, and there are various versions to catch blocks. Here we can the multi catch block. Multi catch blocks means we can try, and the if exception in the 30 by 0, here the here may be raised an exception, arithmetic exception. uh, we access an array indexed size of array is size of array is the 5, and we access the element sixth element here. So the another runtime exception may be raised is the array index out of bound exception. So in a single try clause we can have the multiple catch blocks here. And another nested try example. Nested try example, here we can see that uh, like the if else we try, then nested try, and here we can handle the arithmetic exception. Then another try, here we can handle the array index of bound of exception, and out of both last, and finally we handle the exception. Finally block, Java finally block. So Java finally block is a block that is used to execute important code such as the closing the connection stream, and Java finally block always executed whether the exception handled or not. So intelligent program always put a finally block, either the catch, both the catch and finally block, or we can single put the finally block. uh, so whether your exception is raised or not, the whatever written in the finally block will be definitely executed. This is the example is given by the finally. And another keyword is a through. So this keyword is used to explicitly throw exception. We already discussed about that the exception is not an error. Exception is the abnormal condition. So sometimes we need to uh, throw an exception manually. In that case we can use the throw. Here you can take this example. If age is less than 80, then here we create an object of arithmetic exception and throw manually. And also when we define we declare any method which throw any exception manually, at the in the declaration we have to put the throws keyword. See, this is the method declaration, this is the m method, and it throw the IO exceptions. And finally last is the user defined exception, also called the custom defined exception. We can define our own exceptions, and okay, now we will create an example of custom defined exception or a user defined exception, which illustrate how the try catch blocks handles and how to create the and handle the exceptions in the Java. So create a new project, my exception my exception project, finish. Create a package here, so we can put all the classes in our own package. Package is the btu dot engineering college Ajmer, finish. So here we can create a Java class. So here we are creating a our own exception we will throw this exception, we raise the exception. So here we are creating account classes, and this account classes having the one important method, that is the withdrawal money. So if what amount we want to withdraw, is the available amount is the less than the whatever amount we withdraw, then this class raised a exception called insufficient balance exception. So first we creating here the user defined exception insufficient balance exception. The name of the exception insufficient balance exception. Insufficient balance exception, finish. So any exception uh, that is you manually created must be extends exception class, which is already defined in the Java. Exception class, exception. You can create a constructor, public insufficient balance exception. Optionally we can pass a message, and we can call the constructor of the parent class. Here the parent class is the exception, and pass this message to the parent class. Now we create a class, account class, ACCOUNT account class, and finish. This account class have a single data member, that is the private integer and balance in your account, and we create a constructor so we can initialize the balance. Public account, we will send the amount from the constructor, so initialize the amount, this dot balance, and whatever amount is come. Now we create the one more method, that is the check balance or the get balance. So public ch check balance, whenever we need to public void check balance, here we just nothing to do, print available balance, system dot out dot println, and next line, and see the available balance plus, and print the this dot empty amount, this dot not amount balance. Another important method is the withdrawal method. So public void with withdrawal, whatever amount we want to withdraw as amount. And here is the important thing is we check if whatever amount you want to withdrawal must be either less than or equal to the available balance, this dot balance. If this is the case, then withdraw. If less than, then withdrawal. So we can print here system control V and we print you have withdrawal amount, whatever amount, and also update the balance. So balance equal to this dot balance and minus the amount. So remaining balance will be again assigned in the data member. Otherwise, else if this is not the situation, then amount is greater than, then we can say here the insufficient balance. So in this case we just throw an exception. So new create an exception, throw, use the throw keyword, throw, create a new object of insufficient balance, insufficient 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 balance exception, and message is the insufficient balance. Okay, here is the error is because the method declaration, at the method declaration we need to declare the name of the exception. So throws and the name of exception. So no, it's a checked exception. Control S. Now we will create a test class for this balance test class for this. Also print the next line here. Next line. Control S and create another class. Java class. This is the tester class. Finish. In test class we create a public static void main. Public static void main having a array of string and str. Now we create the object of account and create the constructor. In constructor just initialize the amount. We have 1000 rupees in our account. So check the balance, a dot check balance. Now we withdraw the amount, a dot withdrawal amount, withdrawal. We need to amount 1100. Withdrawal amount. This error. Okay, we need to. This is the code where the exception may be raised. So put it into the try catch block. Try catch block. Here the name of insufficient exception E, and here just system out dot print ln. We can just print not insufficient balance. message, a dot get message, and now we just call the a dot withdrawal, and we withdraw the amount 1100, and our account have only amount of 1000. Control S. So just execute this program, right click and run the program. So here we can see the available balance is the 1000 and it displays the insufficient balance. Now if we send here the 900, again right click and run. So you have withdrawn the 900, and also print control C, control S, run file. You have withdrawn 109 and remaining amount is the 100. So this is the demonstration of user defined exception, how the try catch block is used to handle the exceptions. Okay, thank you.